Peace and blessings to the foundation. Peace and blessings. Hey, the lesson for today, as an introductory, this has a lot to do with what to miss us with and what we hear to expose the true intent of the works and the will of the Father, the true, the truest extent. See, the problem of this day that many say that they're sent and they say, oh, I have a job and oh, I have this with this mystic intent inside of their mind that's made up of a vain imagination, nothing real. The things that man has made a fairy tale through mysticism, the mystic part about our life, being the spirit, has been made an outreachable, attainable thought in the reality in which it's meant. In other words, it's somebody's inability to explain something that they weren't meant to explain yet, so they put their twist on it, and now that has led from the beginning to now this end. And if you look at it, it's just like that game we used to play. I say, get a line of 10 people, and I say A, and by the time it gets to the 10th person, it'll probably be, I went to go to the mark and get some shadows. Something like that. But that's what the explanation of spirit has been in this whole view of the worship of God has been. It's a face and an image put on it based on man's need to try to be the perfecting matter or the explaining matter when he wasn't anointed with that knowledge. And the knowledge that he was anointed with, he abused it and put this twist on it instead of enlightening people with the level of enlightenment that he had or she had. It was all turned into a self point of gain to manipulate masses, to gain treasures on earth, you know? In the deal with a lot of these guys, the targeting measure of identifying, be those guys in person when they always saying preach, bring it out, speak that, all that stuff, out on this TikTok app and when you'll see some lives or whatnot. But when you see it televised, those are the people automatically you know that don't have a message that's for real salvation because they speak it on a fictional base, not the non-fictional base, if you understand. They're speaking it fictionally. Everything in their fiction is made up. But the message is non-made up because it tells you what you need to understand. And the basis of one of them being that your spirit, that you've been here since the beginning, you are a child of God, you will know that you are alive when you realize that the Spirit of God is in you. But a lot of people want to hear man's traditions because it entertains that itching ear sensation. It gives them a hope for something that they're afraid of. And in the end, what they're most morbidly afraid of is their end, their death. They don't look at it as a part of life and continuing and going on. You can ask many people about death and they'll come up with all these mystified experiences and things of that nature. Now, granted, who am I to discredit a person within their closet what experience that they have? That experience that they have will not be the same experience that the next person will have. As we are all born individually, even twins born individually, all die individually or go to sleep, so I shall say. We all go to sleep individually. We all have our individualistic mind. We all have a way that the Father speaks to us. But to make a personal message or a personal experience a truth for everybody like it should go on for them as well has been the misleading factor in life till this very day. The measuring point of what we are supposed to understand is what's given to us, what we experience, what we observe, what we fully take in, not the things that we have manifested within us and that we speak it out of our own interpretation. So as that to be said, when we talk about all the things that are going on in this time right now with these religions, with these people speaking on false terms of vain worship, putting images to the Father, putting their own gallant titles and visage on the titles and the persons and the key players of whatever happened, it's nothing that they speak on as any truth. And what I mean by speaking on truth, though they may quote a Bible verbatim, they misinterpret the meaning in the Constitution in which it was spoke of. Instead of focusing on the place and time on which it has already happened, and that these things are nothing to sit and debate about, they will sit there and waste time debating on it, and it becomes a distraction to them. Hence, religion ministers unto death because it harbors confusion. That's why there's so many denominations. And these people's intents that say that they're sent, you'll soon see the mockery in it when they say these things. When you try to talk to somebody about God, you'll understand the full meaning. Like they'll say, well, I got my own road, my own path. Yes, you do. But there's one path that is supposed to be a light. The path that you say that you're seeking on, when somebody brings you a truth and brings you a full enlightenment, it gives you some oil. Or is it compared to those people that just shuck and jive and say and boast on themselves based on their truths? See, it's easy to find these guys, brothers, because they will talk about themselves. That's how you know that they are not into the spirit of truth, because it clearly says, when in the spirit of truth, you will not speak of yourself, because the truths of me is made up of lies. It is made up of imaginations that will never comprise to the next level. The hard fought-in truths are those things that I have accomplished. But the rest of it to be talked into in a totality of truth, of personal, is not works of me. It's only works of me. Now the truth is the works of not of me. Speaking which like unto God, never talking about myself, using the parable of an experience, never to mention myself as the key figurance. If it weren't for I in a statement, then most men would tell the truth. It is only when you say I that the I involves that lie. It's based off of what's outside you taking the thoughts of God as your own. Unless God gives you the thought that's not of your own, then your mind won't fully function like God's mind, because he puts it in your mind, not you put it in your mind. And that's what a lot of these people have done it. Even to the point to where they clergy people tell them, I have anointed this man, I've gotten anointed by this bishop, and I've got when they go to seminary and stuff like that, these guys got ordained. I mean, the ordainment comes from that man. You have been ordained by man's traditions. You have no foot ground. They have no foot ground with us with this information. How is it that my religion is a lie? It is based off of your intent, your heart, your meaning, your regurgitations, your repeating of the same thing that has been wrong since the very beginning. That's how. Well, then how come because the government harbors corruption and they use controlled chaos to maintain their position, to keep you fooled into it. And we give them power, like we give power to false entities such as witches and warlocks and these demons, when we are the ones that give power to. We are the ones. We're the demons. We're the Satans. That is the truth of it. Not this whole mystic fiction that these people have been feeding people and what they get in it. Yes, there is a spirit realm. It's invisible, just like you looking outside your face and not looking into a mirror. Look, you cannot see your face. That's what the spirit is. Just a set of vision. And people putting this image of God and image of Christ. The best image that I would give to them would be an image of likeness of me, in the same obedience and reverence of them, but not being them. If that was an image to put, but there is none. Because now we understand in eternal life that even though I've never met him before, he's inside of me by his spirit. And since I understand truly now from what his teachings was to awaken the spirit in me and brought me back to remembrance, I have no fear of death. For I know it's a process of life, even though it's a hard process of life to take in because you physically leave. But in all, as many that has left, time has continued on. As many has come. In this physical tense, they're never to come back across this plane. But so many times we have witnessed within our life people coming back across this plane by mention, by memory, by blood, by family members. You are survived by your cousins. You're not dead. You're just alive in spirit. But man has to have a money-making scheme, so he puts money even on life as he put money on air and water. So these are the things that you have to watch out with these people. And yes, if they come talking about the spiritual energy, the vibrations, the kundalini and all that, that's not information that we need to be enlightened to, because it's man's tradition and it's non-existence. That's just the truth of it. It's going to be hard to swallow. But even within your withins, you will tell that person to do it right then, right there in front of me. Manifest those things. They'll give you the, oh, it's going to take this. No, it doesn't. It's no time limit to a breath unless you hold your breath. You control that breath as the time in your time. But the only time that you can't control that breath is when the Most High takes it from you and returns it back from whence it came. And your soul, your flesh, goes back from whence it came. Now, this whole talk on the Bible, the angels, the spirit realm, that is very interesting. But mind you, the less is more. Because those people that are spiritual will be the hardest people to talk to, because they figured in a mystic realm and they see the wings and they see the angels with the horns. They see these things, the clouds. This is what they see because of their imagination. As far as it could be told to them, an angel with wings will be sitting there doing it in front of it instead of a man that inhabits the spirit thereof. The mindset of the people is what we face. That is the most hardest concurrent posture of any kind of warfare. It's always been the mindset. And if you can't get past the mindset, it's meant for them not to hear. If they forbear, they forbear. We shall not be dismayed, because we understand that it's all in the plans, like it states in Mark, in that position. These are the things that needs be. And all this holding books and all this stuff with these men doing this here, they are nothing but vain, imaginative people that just use the book and their man-made knowledge. They are just wise for men's purpose, to argue over things that have already happened. How minusculely foolish do they look, and how do they seem? Sitting here arguing about what happened in the garden that they never could or never will see. Sitting here arguing about a crucifixion instead of stating and remembering that it did happen. They're arguing about it. The skin color, the proposition, or even the composition of his nature, they argue. Blessed are those that hear, for when they hear, they'll truly be saved. For the endurement and the preparation to endure will be afforded to them, because they will be made knowledgeable of these things to come down the pipeline. But for those, I have no hard feeling for it, for they felt bad on their own. They chose to do it on their own. The truth is given to those, and those that will receive it in spirit and truth, and say within inside themselves, yes, it is time for me to change. Because even if you believe it now as something that you would consider factual, in the new kingdom to come, it won't exist. These things of man now, today, this mindset is not going to exist down the road. That's what we are preparing people for. This mindset of race instead of ethnicity, and even the worries of ethnicity is just being human being. That is what is being brought to the table. The elders will know this. And these elders, where you would identify those elders would be like the folks in this generation, Gen X, myself, 40s on to the 50s. If they're not saying that I am the prime reason why this generation is fucked up and on the straits ends as it is, then they are most of the problem. But those that admit and take accountability for the actions that have been a curse outside of a curse to continue on by destruction of our own hand, when we acknowledge that and come to terms with it and ask for forgiveness, then that's the first beginning of the change. Taking responsibility has always been the song that has never been sung. I take accountability for my actions. But now there will be no choice. And there will be no place for old mindsets to stand. Because it will not be taught. It will be stricken from the memory of man. It will never be brought up and never be spoke of again. It's just as easy to forget a face. The Father will strike it from all memory. And that's how it's going to happen. So, I'm going to shorten this up. I've identified the measures of witnessing these people. I've identified the measures on people, how they'll come to you and how it'll be hard to explain to them. I will further give you a little bit more oil. When people start talking off the wall and talk more than they listen, those people are already in forbearance. And it's not a key factor of keeping on the fight with them. And I'm not telling you to quit if you ever come across a person like that. Just understand the forbearance and ask for the patience to deal with it, because sooner or later, through all the forbearance, certain ones do come around. But the ones that forbear to where they go off, then it's in their measure. Just know that you have been in obedience, and a blessing will be added unto you. So, blessed are those who walk in truth and stand in this foundation. Blessed are those that accept the challenge of all those things to come from the world. Blessed are those who focus on the Father in heaven to fulfill the will and to carry out the mission of these times. So the message yesterday, today, and until the kingdom comes to come from underneath the customs and traditions of man. Y'all have a blessed day, and I pray that y'all be protected always. See y'all.